I call this the magic shape, and actually it's a bunch of different shapes, but it's the idea of simple 3-note sliding shapes that kind of work like a Swiss Army knife in your blues playing. And they're these magic chords that you can kind of slide all over the place, and you can use it in your solos or in your comping. It's basically the style of people like T-Bone Walker. So let me take you through them. So there's a couple different shapes, but the first one is this shape here, right? Or you could have it down here. It's a sliding shape. So it's basically what it is if I'm playing in the key, it's the root, the third, and then the 7th on top. So it's just 3 notes. So you can basically start adding that in. So that shape, you can slide it around. So there's your E, there's your A, there's your B. Now with blues, you can slide into chords. So that gives you, if you go a half step below, you can slide up or down here. So you've got 6 chords now. And then you can also slide down into So you can move this shape around a lot. You can even do double slides into it like this. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If you take this shape and you move it onto the next set of strings, it takes on a different characteristic. So if I play that shape up here, like this, and put the bass note in, that becomes an E9 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right there. So there's an E9 chord. But you don't need to put the bass note in, right? Because the bass player or whoever, the rhythm guitarist playing bass, you can just do this. So that shape there is an E9, and down here, A9, and then here would be B9. And then you can take the same application there as you can slide into it. But then, here's where it gets really interesting. Say if I play an A here, play the A9 here, if I slide that up a whole step, this shape here becomes an A6. So when you slide from here to here, you're going from an A9 to an A6, which is a cool blues move, a T-Bone Walker style move, right? You can put that in your leads, right? Okay, now let's take that same exact shape and move it over from here to here, and it becomes the 7th shape, a dominant 7th shape. But it's this famous little shape here. So it's like the little turnaround shape, right? Now, you can put it in your leads like this. But you can also use it in this instance too. You can use it for diminished shapes. This is like Django Reinhardt would do this. You can use diminished chords all over the place because you're using these 7th chords. But one of the cool ways you can use a diminished chord is this. If you play an A7 chord, an extension of that is called an A7 flat 9, which is this chord here, where you basically play an A7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, flat 9. So you're going to add that note, a flat 9, which is the same as going up a half step from the root, which is a very dissonant sounding note. But if you play it in the context of like a blues or jazz, that's kind of extending that dominant idea of like, I want to go somewhere, I want to change. So that sound is a great sound. Now, the way that you can use that, like this. A good way to use that is when you're playing over the 4 chord. To get back to the 1 chord, you essentially put a diminished chord in there. That chord there is a D sharp diminished. So you can play it like this. With diminished chords, you can slide them up every 3 frets, and it just repeats the same notes. So that's what the magic of diminished chords. So they're these kind of like fractal chords where they just keep repeating. That's the same chord, just slid around. So you can go basically from an A to a D, and then right before you go back to the A, you can go. So you can add any of those in. So a good place to start that is right here. So you can go. And one way, the typical way to do that is as a turnaround, basically where you go from the A to the D, back to the A, and then you go to this little shape here, which is essentially, that's the A7. And then when you slide it down, that's like a diminished chord there. So that's kind of the idea with the turnarounds. But basically, those little diminished chords can be kind of passing chords. So starting on the A string, you've got these nice bassy sounding chords. And then on the middle string, starting on the D strings, you've got this kind of nice little blues move. And then on the top strings, you've got this kind of turnaround idea. Or the diminished idea. So, you know, when I'm playing an A7 chord, I'm going to use an A sharp diminished right here. But when I'm playing a D7, D going to the 4 chord, I just move that down a half step, play it here. And then when I play the E chord, the 5 chord, I move that shape up a half step. So that basically fills all the gaps, and you can just play anything you want. But there's a A7 flat 9, or an A sharp diminished. There's a D7 flat 9, or a D sharp diminished. Wants to go back to the 1 chord, and then there's an E7 flat 9, or an E sharp diminished, or an F diminished. So you can have a lot of fun playing with those shapes, but it all sounds very complicated, the theory behind that, but it's basically just this shape. And you can just move it around. It's a very magical sliding shape.